By the way, we have a special guest with us here. Michael Moore, of course, is a documentary filmmaker whose latest film, Capitalism, A Love Story, is in theaters now. I ran into him. Where were we? San Francisco.
San Francisco.
I ran into Michael Moore in San Francisco. Tall guy.
Yes, very.
You know, you see a lot of people on TV, they end up being like 5'4", and you're disappointed. Michael Moore. No, nothing.
No disappointment.
Michael,
there.
how are you doing? We just asked Dr. Dean, Dr. Howard Dean is with us. We just asked him if he were on the Finance Committee, would he have voted for the Baucus bill a couple of days ago? He said he wouldn't. Let me ask you the same question. If you were on the Finance Committee, could you support this health care reform bill that's in the Senate right now?
No, this bill is worse than the status quo. This is a huge, big wet kiss to the health insurance industry, and it's just deplorable that it comes from somebody who calls himself a Democrat. I understand why a lot of the Democrats have voted for it on the committee, because they're just desperate to get anything out there on the floor, and then hopefully they can put amendments on it and they can get it right. But I'm not. I'm very unhappy with this.
Yeah.
You know, can I just point out one reason why? For instance, if the new bill says, oh, we're going to get rid of insurance companies being able to deny people help because they have a pre-existing condition. Right, that's what it says. Now, what's the fine that they're proposing if an insurance company does this? What is it, like something like $5,000 per incident after? I mean, the insurance company is going to go, gee, should we pay for this person's $50,000 operation or take the $5,000 fine? It's a travesty. The Democrats pushing it should be embarrassed, and everybody should get behind Keith Olbermann's plan to hold these free clinics in the states where these senators, these so-called Democratic senators, are blocking the true kind of health care reform that President Obama and others who support single payer want.
Yeah, this is a perfect day to have you on. Of course, we've been talking about what happened on Wall Street yesterday. The Dow hits 10,000.
Well, I haven't come down yet. I've just been partying all night.
Hey, baby, happy days are here again. Let's pop the champagne.
It's so incredible.
So, isn't this a perfect example for you? Isn't this a great example of what you're trying to say? How there's a disconnect between what's going on Wall Street, 10,000, and Main Street, 10% unemployment.
Oh, it's not a disconnect. It's connected very well. It's connected just the way our economic system is set up. It's set up so that the pyramid scheme that we call capitalism, it's become a pyramid scheme now. The very few at the top get away like bandits, making billions and billions of dollars, and everybody else in the lower parts of the pyramid are told to work really hard, and maybe someday they can come up and be on top of the pyramid too. Well, guess what? There's only a few people that can sit on top of the pyramid. And I mean, it's so revolting and so immoral when we live in a country, the wealthiest country on earth, 15 million people unemployed. 1 in every 8 homes right now is in foreclosure or delinquency. And they're celebrating on Wall Street, and they're paying each other bonuses.
Last night, Mika and I were at the 92nd Street Y, and actually Christopher Buckley, conservative Christopher Buckley, Mika, remember he said, Aristotle had said there should be a 4-to-1 ratio between the best paid and the worst paid. He said our system has, maybe 440, 500-to-1 ratio. There is, it seems the difference between the richest and the poorest keep getting wider and wider.
And Michael, I couldn't agree with you more about not only revolting, but immoral. And morality should play a role, especially now when so many people are hurting. And these bonuses, I would think you would agree with this, the latest round that we reported yesterday, just seem unacceptable right now.
Well, for instance, Bank of America, we gave them about $30 billion of our tax money and this TARP money that they got. And guess how much they're handing out in bonuses? $30 billion. That's our money. This is absolute thievery. They shouldn't be handing out bonuses. They should be handing out warrants for arrest.
Wow.
And it's a year later, and no one's been picked up. No one's been charged with anything. In fact, we, the American people, allow this to continue to happen. I swear to God, in an hour or so, I don't know when they open up the congressional switchboard, but people should be calling their members of Congress, burning that switchboard up, sending emails, call the White House. The public comment line there is 202-456-1414.
You know, Maria,
call
a couple
and just
of things
say, that's it.
I have to insert here. On the one hand, I'm a big fan of Michael's, but I have to disagree that capitalism is a pyramid scheme. I actually think that's absurd. But on the bonuses, obviously compensation did get way out of hand on Wall Street and for some individuals at the top. I agree with that. But let's not forget the millions and millions and millions of people who have benefited, who have pensions, who have mutual funds, who are invested in this market and may not even know it, who have made a lot of money over the years. So it's not necessarily just the people at the top making money when the market goes higher. That is also absurd.
Oh,
Having said that, yes, compensation definitely got out of control,
I'm sorry, that's exactly
particularly
what's
in the
going
Wall
on.
Street area and financial services firms.
Michael?
No, I'm sorry. I understand what you just said. That was the old days during Leave It to Beaver and Andy of Mayberry. That is the way it used to work. Here's how it is now.
Okay.
The wealthiest, let me finish, the wealthiest 1% right now in this country have more financial worth than the 95% under them combined. 1%, more than 95% combined. That's capitalism now. It's a system of legalized greed. It's way out of control. And when you talk about people and their pension funds, people watching this right now, nobody even knows if they're going to have a pension, what's going to happen to it. Everybody is full of anxiety. People don't know if they're going to have a job next year. This isn't how you run a country. This isn't how you create the next great thing and put people to work when you've got everybody going around so full of fear and just not knowing what's going to happen and not knowing if they can pay the mortgage next month. I mean, there's a foreclosure filing once every 7.5 seconds in this country right now.
Well, let's go back to see who is overseeing
crisis.
all of this. I mean, there is a structure in place, and there has been a structure in place in terms of regulating the banks, in terms of overseeing the risks that they took on.
There's no structure.
So you can't just say that, these guys were just given the go-ahead to do whatever they wanted. I mean, who was watching the store in terms of the regulatory environment overseeing the financial services?
Isn't that the problem, though? I mean, isn't the fact that Christopher Cox at the SEC had a complete hands-off approach, and we Republicans for too long, we confused, and I think this is important that Republicans, that conservatives get their arms around this, because I finally have. We campaign and we talk to small businesses who are hurting, that have all these really stupid regulations put on them, and so we throw this blanket over all regulation. So we're against regulation.
Right.
And then we let Wall Street go wild. We have a crash in 87, 98, 99, 2000. We've got WorldCom in 2001, Enron in 2002. And then, of course, Michael, 2004, we've got Fannie and Freddie collapsing. Then 2008, everything collapses. You can be against regulation with small businesses. You can help people grow their businesses in Flint, Michigan, or Pensacola, Florida. But I think we all need to grow up and understand we have got to be tough on Wall Street. We've got to regulate.
That's a great point. Can I just say that first of all, don't just beat up yourself for being Republican. It's the Democrats too. This went on under Clinton.
I mean, a lot of this started in '99.
Right. And before that, of course, all the deregulation ideas started back during Reagan. But right now, you're right. They use the cover of, the poor small businessman has too much red tape to go through. That's true. But the reality is that the top 7 banks right now have 75% of all the banking assets in this country. All right? Whereas the 7,000 community banks, the small banks in this country, they lost nearly $3 billion last year. Okay, that's not true, though, with the big boys, the ones that took our TARP money. And I tell people, if you have money in any of these banks that took TARP money, take the money out. Take the money out of those banks. Don't reward them. Don't ever trust your money with these people again. Put it in a bank that didn't take TARP money. Put it in a credit union. Just refuse to participate in this.
All right. Hey, Michael Moore, thank you so much for dropping by. And let me just say, even though we disagree with each other politically about 99% of the time, if Flint, Michigan is ever awarded an NFL football team, damn it, I want you to run it. All right, baby?
I promised to do that, and I promised not to make any racist comments or take too much Oxycontin.
All right.
Good.
Grand Funk Railroad lives. Michael Moore, thank you so much for being with us.